A trial may be in the future for the case of an Ogden daycare employee accused of sexual abuse. Well, thank you for joining us on our second half hour of 2 News this morning. I'm Darby Sparks. Here are some of our top trending stories on KUTV.com. The first, a babysitter is in jail. That's right, Jim and Jamie. I am in front of Ogden's 2nd District Courthouse, where a preliminary hearing was supposed to be held today, but it got delayed again. While speaking to the little boy's parents this morning about their frustration over court dates being delayed, Aldana stood just a few feet away. Did the judge know that Aldana was in the courthouse this morning despite testing positive for COVID?
It changes a kid's life, you know.
Both the daycare and police had been aware of other accusations against Dobson for years. Kenmore says her daughter now faces a reality that could have been avoided if she had known about Dobson's list of allegations, which they can fix to the state's satisfaction through employee training and paying a fine.
It makes me furious.
Sierra Farley says she did painstaking research before choosing Progressive Preschool in Ogden for her 3-year-old daughter. I found that the justice system is all over the place when it comes to sentencing, and that usually comes back down to the plea deal. Crime records dating back to 2011 show that accountability can look very different when it comes to taking a pedestrian's life, even when the cases are similar.
I'm having a horrible dream.
Their nightmare became even worse when they discovered the process of the Utah justice system.
I think 4 hours to a 13 or a 14-year-old is a long time.
I just wanted to ask, why the extension?
The 2-hour time frame is really short.
It started with one of my reports when UDOT blamed the ongoing lawsuits for not getting started on Little Cottonwood Canyon's transportation project. The way to do that would be to change zones around the base to commercial and industrial zones. Since the compatibility report has come out, the city has done the opposite. They said they can't do it because they said it would cause, quote, a tremendous policy and property impact. There are 78 F-35 jets at Hill Air Force Base. They average 80 flights a day. And a base spokesperson assured me via email they don't contribute at all to our air quality problem. But the National Air Quality Index shows that parts of Utah are either below average or poor in quality. The group invited me to join them to measure the sounds of the jets flying over their homes. A video mocking their comments made its rounds online, with one person stating they should be killed for speaking out. She said that she hasn't heard from anybody yet in terms of receiving credit.
If you would like the recording, we could probably give it to you.
But then during my interview, the city realized that hadn't happened.
It sounds like she just went ahead and applied it.
Okay, so she hasn't called, they haven't actually talked.
This lot will easily cost $100,000. They're asking anyone with footage of the fire to check it.
Obviously, something wasn't constructed according to the plan.
That's city manager David Dobbins saying that something must have gone wrong in the building of 2 homes that collapsed last year, but he's not sure what. A detective I spoke with said it's not a matter of if, but it's a matter of when we will find out. Live for 2 News Investigates in West Valley City, I'm Darby Sparks. Mark and Heidi, it was going to be a big day today. The first time Mr. Barlow would appear in court virtually since his charges were upgraded from manslaughter to first-degree murder last year. But his defense attorney, Ben Aldana, sent an email to the judge last night claiming to have tested positive for COVID. Yet as we were leaving, I spotted Aldana in the lobby, casually speaking to his defense counsel. That's Ben Aldana, the lead defense attorney for Kent Cody Barlow, the man facing first-degree murder charges in the deaths of 3-year-old Hunter Jackson and Odin Ratliff.
They are making us relive this every time we walk into this courtroom. And every time it's not resolved, it's worse.
While speaking to the little boy's parents this morning about their frustration over court dates being delayed, Aldana stood just a few feet away, outside the courtroom, casually speaking with other attorneys. Yet this is him 10 minutes prior, appearing virtually in the courtroom as he claimed to have tested positive for COVID the night beforehand. Judge Robert Lund postponed the hearing to next month, emphasizing the importance of strictly adhering to COVID safety standards for the sake of the court.
The court is still trying to recover from the pandemic. We're still trying cases that occurred before the pandemic occurred.
The judge said it was important to reschedule due to the amount of subpoenaed witnesses called to testify. For everyone's safety, he said it was not worth the risk to continue if the defense could not go on without Aldana in the courtroom, which they said they could not.
This is an issue beyond the court's control.
The new preliminary hearing dates are set for February 7th and 21st, as there cannot be another back-to-back date due to the courtroom's backlog of cases. The ones affected the most are the parents of Hunter and Odin.
This is not a one and done. Every single time we get called back every time we do another WebEx motion, we have to relive it, and it feels like we're not making any progress.
Normally I work Monday, Tuesday, and I'm now having to work through the weekend to just be able to be here.
I noticed Ben Aldana speaking to a group of people across the room. When I tried to ask him why he was present after claiming to have tested positive for COVID and not being able to appear in court, he and his counsel shuffled past me and piled into a small room.
I'm disappointed. Like, it is ridiculous the amount of pain and suffering already that we've gone through with losing our boys, but now we have to fight just to get the time of day to be able to fight for our boys. And I think it's ridiculous. It's been almost 2 years.
I had a few questions for the judge after this. I sent a follow-up email asking first why the court waited until this morning for everyone to arrive before announcing the positive COVID case. And secondly, did the judge know that Aldana was in the courthouse this morning despite testing positive for COVID? I didn't receive a response. In studio, I'm Darby Sparks, 2 News Investigates. That group of residents living near the base call themselves Safe Skies Utah. All of them have lived in Layton for decades and said they had no problem with the noise until F-35 jets came to the base. But when they've asked the city and the base about implementing those solutions, they said they've been disregarded. Layton City also didn't respond to my multiple requests for comment, but I sat down with the base to talk about noise, and they say some of the solutions are not realistic. The sound of freedom. It's the term used by residents living next to Hill Air Force Base to describe the noise of jets flying over their homes.
We're proud to be Americans, and we support the base and all of their efforts.
Safe Skies Utah is a group of people who've lived near the base for decades. Jet noise, they say, is a way of life.
It was part of the air base, it's part of the military readiness for the United States.
But when F-35 jets came into the picture, they say life significantly changed.
All of my kids have gone through a phase where they're scared of the jets, and so we've had to practice hey, you have to plug your ears like this, not just like this.
F-35 jets have been the source of national controversy since they were first introduced in 2015, from their high-cost maintenance to noise.
The noise was so much different than the F-16s.
A military study from 2012 deemed F-35 jets to be at least 4 times louder than the older F-16 jets. But factors involving the aircraft have caused debate over an exact answer. In 2022, Hill Air Force Base and surrounding cities worked on a plan meant to reduce potential conflicts while accommodating growth and economic development. From it came multiple recommendations to reduce jet noise, none of which residents say have been acted on.
Nobody wants to do anything, primarily because the base is a employment center, has a lot of economic benefit for the state.
Base leaders say one recommendation, moving noisier flights to Wendover, is not realistic.
With the airspace here, a lot of people don't know, but we're fairly confined with how we can do kind of our routes.
A grandma request of Layton City emails show city and base employees discussing jet noise concerns and the compatibility report's solutions. But multiple emails from residents asking city council about those solutions received a response explaining the base's history and financial importance to Layton. It may impact someone's hearing, right? It could impact somebody's health.
The truth is, we don't know with the science that's available right now.
The sound of freedom Layton residents once loved now causes some to feel trapped.
I love Layton. I've lived here for 15 years. I wish I could move at this point, but unfortunately I can't afford to move. I'm stuck.
That sound of freedom, is it coming at the cost of people around the base losing their own?
What we really want them to understand is that we care. We want to be good partners in the community.
But for some, actions speak louder than words.
It's cognitive damage, it's hearing impairment, it's neurological damage, and the science is absolutely definitive about that. There's no question.
The base requests evidence proving jet noise negatively impacts health and asks anyone who's seen a doctor about the noise to submit results to the county health department. Currently, they're working on a new study to measure F-35 jet noise specifically, but admit there's no solution that'll change the volume right now. In studio, I'm Darby Sparks, 2 News Investigates.